Question 17, domain of the function. So for those two functions are rational function, what we want is the denominator not equal to 0. So for part A, first we will set the denominator equal to 0 and solve for x. So x squared minus 2x equal to 0. Then we want to solve for x. How to do that? We can see that those two terms have the common factor of x. So if we have a common factor of x, x will times x minus 2. That will equal to 0. So x is 0 or x minus 2 equal to 0. So x is 0 or 2. So for the denominator, we will just say all the real numbers except those two numbers. So all real numbers except 0 and 2. That's part A. For part B, very similarly, we set the denominator equal to 0. So x squared minus 16 equal to 0. We want to solve for x. Again, we need to do the factorization. You may have some very quick method, but we will just slow down here. So I will use the AC method. So you can imagine if there is a term of x, it should be 0x. So basically that's 0. By adding in that, you can use the AC method. So AC is 1 times minus 16 is minus 16. And we want to factorize this number so that the summation will be 0, which is b. So that will be minus 4 and 4, because the summation will be 0, which is a b. So in this way, we know how to factorize this. X plus 4 times x minus 4 will be 0. So either x plus 4 is 0 or x minus 4 is 0. X is either minus 4 or 4. So for the domain, we will say all real numbers except those two numbers. So that's your domain for part B. Number 18, simplify the right side of the following function. So again, those are rational functions. How to do that? So it's very similar to as dealing with fractions. We need to cancel out the common factor in the numerator and denominator. But before that, we need to factor the numerator and denominator. Let's look at them one by one. So for the numerator here, there is a common factor of 6. So we can have 6 outside, and inside the bracket will be x minus 2. That's for the numerator. For the denominator down here, there's a common factor of x. So we can do very similar thing. Have the x outside the bracket, inside the bracket will be what's remaining, x minus 2. And now we immediately see common factor x minus 2 up and down here. So we can cancel them. So what's remaining is 6 minus x. That finishes simplification of the rational function. For part B, we do very similar things. Factorize up and down. So up here, there's a common factor of 4. So it will be 4 times x minus 4. And down here, x squared minus 16, again we can use the AC method. So a times c is minus 16. We want to factorize that so that the two factors sum up to be 0, because there is no x term here. So it will be minus 4 and 4, so the summation will be 0. So down here, we factorized it as x plus 4 times x minus 4. Again, we see the common factor, x minus 4, up and down here. So we can cancel that. So what's remaining is 4 over x plus 4. That's the final result. Number 19. Perform in the indicated operation. Simplify the result and show work. So it's calculating the rational functions. So for part A, it's a subtraction of rational functions. It's very similar as dealing with fractions. So what we do is find the common denominator and then do the further calculation. Before that, we need to factor the denominator in order to find the common denominator. So we need to factor this big denominator here. Again, use AC method. How to factor the 18 so that the summation is 9? It will be 3 and 6. So we know how to factorize this denominator now. It's y plus 3 times y plus 6. And for this one, there's nothing much we could do here because y plus 6 is already pretty simple here. And then if we look at the denominator, y plus 3 times y plus 6 and y plus 6. What is a common denominator? It would be this y plus 3 times y plus 6. Then we want to change every fraction, the rational function, so that the denominator will be the same. So for the first term, there's nothing much we could do. But for the second one, what's missing down here is y plus 3. So we will multiply this y plus 6 with y plus 3. And also, up here, we also want to multiply y plus 3 so that this huge denominator will be the same. The fraction will be the same as this up here. In this way, the denominator for the first one and for the second one will be the same. Then, we want to multiply out those brackets in the numerator for further calculation. So how to do that? There will be 4 terms introduced. Okay, so y times y is y squared, then y times 3 is 3y, then minus 4 times y, minus 4 times 3, which is minus 12. So those are the 4 terms here. We want to simplify that a little bit because 3y minus 4y will be minus y. And then this part and that part, they have the same denominator. We are ready to do the subtraction. So I copy it here, which is the same as the previous line, in order for you to easier see that. So y minus 6 minus all those terms, put in the bracket, and down here will be the common denominator. Then we want to open the bracket, so everything inside will change its sign. So it's minus y squared plus y plus 12. And then we want to simplify the numerator. Y squared minus y squared 0. What's remaining is just y. Minus 6 plus 12 is 6, so y plus 6. And we see a common factor of y plus 6 up and down here. So we can cancel them. What's remaining is 1. Okay, remember here, even though they get canceled, there should be a 1 here. So 1 over y plus 3. So that's the final result. Part B, it's addition of rational functions. Again, we need to find a common denominator. This one is easier because the denominator has already been factorized. So we can immediately see for the second term here, the missing factor is x minus 3. So we'll multiply x minus 3 both up and down here. Then we know that the denominator for the first term and the second term are the same. We are ready to do the addition for the numerator. So up here will be 2x plus, this one if we multiply out everything, it will be x squared minus 3x. we put it here. And then we want to further simplify that because 2x minus 3x is just a minus x. And then we want to see whether up and down here there is a common factor or not. In order to see that, we have to factor the numerator. So there's a common factor of x for those two terms. So the numerator will become x times x minus 1. And we can see there is no common factor up and down here. So that will be your final result. Okay, part C is division. We don't like division. We want to change that to multiplication. So division is the same as multiply by the reciprocal. So the first term, we just copy it here, times the reciprocal of this second one. So the numerator and denominator will just change. By doing that, we change the division into multiplication. And then what we want to do is factorize each term if possible. Okay, so v minus 5, there's nothing much we could do. So we could just copy it here. Down here, v squared minus 6v minus 55. For that, we'll use the AC method. So factor this minus 55 so that the summation will be minus 6. So that will be minus 11 and 5. Then down here will become v minus 11 times v plus 5. That's the first rational function. For the second one, up there, we will again use AC method. Factorize minus 77. So the summation will be minus 4. So that will become v minus 11 times v plus 7. And down here, we'll just copy v minus 8. Then we see common factor up and down here. V minus 11 and v plus 5. We will cancel them. So what's remaining is v plus 7 over v minus 8. That will be your final result. Part D, it's a multiplication, which is very similar to part C. So we were just starting with factorizing the polynomials in a numerator and denominator. So up here, this numerator has a common factor of 2. So it will become 2 times n plus 3. Denominator, we use AC method. Factor the 15 so that the summation is 8. So that will become n plus 3 times n plus 5. For the second numerator, here, we see a common factor of 3. So it will become 3 times n plus 5. And down here, again, we use the AC method. Factorize 28, so the summation will be 11. So that will become n plus 4 times n plus 7. Then, find the common factor in the numerator and denominator to cancel them. So n plus 3 and n plus 5. So what's remaining is 2 times 3, which is 6 up here. And down here, what's remaining is n plus 4 times n plus 7.